Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Believe in Tennessee Football. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kerberson, joined with Reed Bacon. Got a great podcast, but before we get into that, if you're watching, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit that notification bell. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download, leave us 5 stars. It means so much. If you want to follow us on social media, at Kyler Kerberson for myself, at rbacon26 for Reed, at Believe in Tennessee for our main account on Twitter. We also have merch, How We Doing Bud t-shirts in orange and in white. So go ahead and check those out. So on this week's podcast, we're talking Tennessee basketball, the upsets versus Vandy and Missouri, 2 buzzer beaters in a row. Who would have thunk? And a preview into Alabama. What can we do to take down the Tide, to redeem ourselves as a basketball team? So another great pod. Let's jump into it.
The game. Snap. The kick is in the air, and the kick this time is no, sir, Reed. No, sir, Reed. Final score: Tennessee 20, Florida 17. Pandemonium reigns.
Loads up, fires long for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught by Tennessee. Tennessee wins! Caught it by Tennessee. Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch in the end zone on the Hail Mary.
Down at the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. What did he do? All he did was score. Joey Pence, touchdown on play number 1.
All right, so before we jump into the podcast, got to shout out our number one sponsor, betonline.ag. It is the place to go for betting. It is your number one source for betting. They have all the odds, all the team totals, all the parlays that you could ever want, and they cover every sport. You got NFL, you got NBA, you got tennis, you got golf, you got baseball, you got everything you could think of. It is the place to go if you're going to bet on anything and make anything exciting. So for first-time signups, go over to betonline.ag, and for a 50% welcome bonus, use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, at checkout and receive that 50% welcome bonus. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, welcome in, everybody. Got another great podcast for you. Talking a lot of Tennessee basketball. But before we do any of that, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Happy Valentine's Day, Kyler.
Will you be my Valentine?
I've been your Valentine since the day we locked eyes on each other at Knoxville Catholic.
In biology class.
Well,
ironically enough, in biology class.
Technically, if you want to know, the real first time was in the old weight room, because we have a new weight room that they've built since we've been, I guess in 2009, but it was a good old, 2007.
Yeah.
When were you a freshman? Were you a freshman in 2007?
Yes.
Yes.
So I do believe it was 7-8. That's when I was a freshman.
No, because we won the state championship in 8.
Yeah, it was my sophomore year. So it was the 2008 fall.
So when was your freshman
I was a
year?
freshman 2007 fall, 2008 spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember being in there working out on this side of the squat rack with 2 other of my buddies in our grade. You work out with kind of like your same position, kind of the same size. So you don't have to shed all these bunch of weights that are different. And then on the other side of the squat rack was you. And we were over there giving you a hard time and messing with you. And that was the first time I met old Kyler, as he was over there grinding it. And then we hit it off in biology class. But yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you.
I'm just glad you're not saying Valentine's with an M.
Why? Because people
say all the time that they don't even realize that it's not with an M, that it's an N. Valentine's Day.
Yeah, well, you know what? People aren't very smart, so.
There are, yeah.
So
Dime a dozen.
are you and the wife celebrating it a little bit later tonight? Am I right? Gotcha, man. No, I'm just kidding. Are you guys going
well, no, we technically kind of celebrated over the weekend. We took a trip out to California. It was I guess a combo because technically the trip was for my wife's birthday. We booked it around her birthday and then went now. But it was just nice.
When was Brian's birthday?
It's in October.
Oh, okay.
So we went over to Los Angeles, went up into Topanga, California. So Topanga is literally just the mountains of Los Angeles. So that's where
I thought it was the girl from Boy Meets World.
It also is the girl from Boy Meets World. I don't know which one was first. But the mountains up in there, we had like a little stay. It was very like quiet and nice. And we went on like hiking trails. We went to the Getty Museum and looked at art and sculptures. And then we went to the Rose Bowl flea market, which is like one of the biggest flea markets in the United States. And they have it once every month. And there's just a ton of stuff you can get. And I got some like random clothes. I got like a button up and a t-shirt out of there. And
I bet some cool stuff, honestly.
Yeah, we just love thrifting and flea markets, and it's just like a fun thing to do on weekends, and my wife loves it the most. So I was like, all right, here's one of the biggest ones in the country. Let's go do it. So she loved it.
Did you go to LA? By the way, some of the pictures you sent me were pretty cool. I thought that was a dope picture, which I haven't told you yet, but the side angle of you out there drinking your coffee.
Yeah.
You know, what were you doing standing in the sun?
Just baking and just getting the rays, baby.
That's what I thought. You did not do that as a pick op. Like, you did not say, hey, give me a picture of this. It just was you. She just took that.
I just literally walked out there. It was probably like 50 outside. So I like had my hoodie on and everything. And it was like kind of cold. And then I was like, I'm going to go get in the sun. I bet that feels so good. So I literally walked over there and took my shirt off and just stood there.
You look like a big freaking mammoth over there. But yeah, did you go into LA at all? You were in the mountains of LA. Did y'all go down there at all?
We did go into LA because you got to go in there to get to the museum, and then obviously to the Rose Bowl, and then we like ate at different places. And
what was your favorite meal you had?
Let's see, favorite meal I had.
Did you get some dope tacos?
We didn't get dope tacos. We were about to, but this one taco place that was close to us was only open 3 days a week. And so we didn't go there. Yeah, I wish we would have tried to find something authentic, like, I don't know, Mexican style, because it's just so close.
Right.
But I don't think we ended up doing that.
So what was your favorite meal then?
I had a pizza while I was there. I mean, it wasn't anything special. We also got Korean body scrubs. So they scrub off all your dead skin on your body, and it's freaking incredible.
You feel good?
Yes. Felt great. And people were like, oh, be careful. Like, it's kind of rough. Like, it's hard on your skin. I was like, come on, bring it on. I'm like, go harder, baby. Go harder. Get it all off. It was fantastic.
Was something like that even like, because I'm a big, like, I love massages. I love going to Stretch Fusion here and getting just stretched out and just, I'm all about the pampered life. But like, those can be somewhat expensive, but I don't feel like that was that expensive.
No, it really wasn't. I think for like a 45-minute session, it was like $70 or something.
That's not terrible.
Like, it wasn't bad at all. So, and they had like a steam room and a sauna that you could get in before.
Right.
So I loved that, just sitting in the steam room and stretching. So, but yeah, it was great. Fantastic trip. Glad to be back. I always feel like out of control when I'm not at home and not at work, and like, oh gosh, like everything is kind of leaving me. Um, Here, if you guys can hear the meeping in the background,
Whoa. Meow.
it is from the Goldie Hawn.
Look at Goldie. What are you doing, sweet girl?
Such a good girl. We just got them locked up in the office area right now because we just got some new plants and they're very, very curious. And we need to introduce them to the plants in a way that they don't want to eat the plants.
Yeah, so they don't want to tear the hell out of them.
Yeah, exactly. So they're in the office with me right now.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys went out there, and I was going to tell you to buy me something cool if you found any dope clothes, because I'm guessing there are some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, there was. I got this like oversized T-shirt, Wilson athletic wear, like oversized T-shirt and like a green button up. I love green. Definitely my favorite color. And then I got a cool like LA Dodgers hat. It was just LA and it's yellow. But it's like how do I explain it? It's almost like are those corduroy pants that have like the lines?
Yeah.
That's what it's like. So I was like, oh, this is dope.
I bet, did they have, besides just all the LA teams?
They had a good amount of the LA teams, and I was looking through.
What'd you say?
They had a good amount of LA teams there.
That's what I'm saying. Besides the LA teams, did they have any other teams?
They had random, like they had some LSU stuff because it's purple and gold, so it kind of matches Lakers. But then they had like there was one booth that had a bunch of T-shirts that had a lot of Michael Jordan T-shirts, so it's like Bulls stuff. I did find one Tennessee shirt, and it was a medium. And it was just like the helmet with like a little circle around it, like 1998 national champions. But there was a big old stain in the middle, and it was a medium. But if I would have found one that fit,
even with
scooped it up.
Yeah, even with stain, I would have taken. But we're both XL, so
exactly.
Mediums. You haven't seen mediums. You haven't seen medium in a long time.
Bro, I haven't seen a medium since I was like 10.
I know. I haven't seen medium since freshman year of high school, so it's still a pretty long time for me too. We're just a bunch of yoke boys.
It's not a competition. It's not a competition.
Well, man, I'm glad you guys had a good time. It's fun to go out there and see it. Like I said, some of the pictures that you sent were cool. So, and then I had a great weekend. It was my first time in TBA, which kind of for the year. But yeah, it was a great time. And
this is a great transition into our first talking point. Your trip to TBA this past Saturday, Vols versus Missouri.
And what was funny about it is it's I don't know why, but it just amazes me when I go to an event. I'm like, golly, I forgot how good these fans are. And it's like, coming after, we're going to talk Vandy, and we're going to talk Missouri, we're going to talk Bama. And it's like, I'm at trivia the other night or two Wednesdays ago, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching the Vandy game while we're doing trivia, and you're kind of checking the score, and then it's closer than we would have hoped towards the end. It's like, all right, guys, like, let's put this away. And you're like, damn, like, I just got to straight up focus on this game. And trivia kind of ended, so we were getting to watch like the last 4 or 5 minutes. And then you're just like
4 or 5 minutes.
And you just get that feeling in your stomach. And like, I love, I call him Toby, but Tobey. So I love Tobey, and I'm watching him battle and watching him fight. And then I thought the play design that Rick drew up, or whoever, excuse me, I just got done eating a smoothie bowl. Sorry. So whoever drew the play up where it was an inside out, and we got Vescovi, Vescovi, aka Vescovi, the wide open three in the Vandy game. And so what it was just a thing of beauty. It was like worked it in from the top, and then the guy helps, slides down, kick it back out to Santi, drills a three. And it's like, okay, you know what? It's like we're the better team. We need it here. Let's go ahead and hit this shot. Let's do what we need to do. And so it was a great play design. It was awesome to see that. And for me, as a Barnes frustrator, as I'm one of these that get frustrated with him, it was like, okay, this is the end of the game. And I felt like we kind of clutched up. That's nice to see. And then the wheels absolutely fall off. We go down there and stop them. But then after we stop them, we have another beautiful play design, and we get Julian Phillips with the ball going to the basket. Just dunk it. I know there's, 13, 14 seconds left, but if you dunk it there, and I get you want to run the clock out, and yeah, that would be the great thing to do, to kind of run around, chew the clock up, they foul you, hit 2 free throws. But when you have a wide open dunk, you have to take the dunk and make it a 2-possession game. Yeah. And make it 4 points with 14 seconds, and just it's the smart play. But then because it's like you have the 14 seconds. You think, okay, if I make this and I can't keep the clock moving, but if you make it, you add their time needed. At the moment, they only needed the amount of time it takes them to get down the court and score. Now they need the amount of time it takes them to get down the court and score twice. Right. So it's like, yes, you're not getting like the extra 2 to 3 seconds, maybe after the dunk, that, you're running around a little bit, but that's not worth 2 possessions. Right. And so it's funny. It's like most of the time in games, when I'm a fan of whatever basketball team I'm watching, whether it's the Vols or whether it's the Memphis Grizzlies or whether it's the team I have money on. And it's like, if they're losing, I do want them, like, I don't. And plus, think about it like this. If Vandy, if we score, we get that dunk, Vandy automatically has to be like, okay, we need to draw up something. We need to make something happen. And they might mess up because they're trying to force something. Well, that was literally the point that I was about to make, is like, when I'm watching one of my teams that are down, I'm always the guy that's like, extend the game, meaning if you're down 4, if you're down 5, do not be the guy that goes down there and chucks up a 3. Like, work your offense, get a good shot. And even if you're down, 3, 4, 5, like, get a 2, make them hit their free throws. And especially, so it was like, if Julian makes that dunk, yeah, it's extending the game for Vandy, and no foreshadowing, but we're not that great at our free throws. But it's like, I still agree with you there that you're not making it a 3-possession game. You're making it a 2-possession game unless you're an absolute idiot and fouling on a made 3, which Tobey had fouled someone earlier. But yeah, it's like, for me, it's like Julian doesn't dunk it. After Julian doesn't dunk it, then we run another good play to get it in. But then we get to Santi. He misses, and it's just like, when you don't close games out, you leave opportunities. And that is exactly what they did back-to-back weeks. And I was sitting there in trivia, and it was a great play design. And once again, not to beat up Santi again, but like, there was no reason at all for him to leave his man. And I was sitting with people, and I said it. So it's not like I'm playing hindsight 2020, but like, Double Z had good defense. And the thing is like, the one thing that you can't give up is a 3. So it's like, for me, if I'm the coach, it's like, seriously, what I'm saying is, I'm like, all right, play good defense. Well, right. But what I'm going to say is, guys, play good defense. But like if you got a guy driving in on you, move your legs, play good defense, and go straight up, because I don't want an and one and go to the line or anything like that. Like, I'm almost saying, like I was saying about the Auburn game, like, you're almost doing a little bit of a drive-by, like, let them get a shot up. If they make it, they make it. They miss, great. But don't foul. Don't do something stupid. So Double Z had great defense, and it was going to be a decently contested layup. And Santi just flies in there, dude, and just leaves Buddy wide open. And then kudos to Buddy for making the shot. So it happens, and like, once again, like, I guess the good thing about me not being as invested this year is like, I wasn't super upset. I was like, dang, like, that's kind of stinks. It's annoying, but like, I just started laughing at Vandy, like rushing the court with like 3 people. And then, but I think then you fast forward to the Missouri game. So, or excuse me, then you continue on to the Missouri game. And so I go to TBA and I'm like, man, we just came off a heartbreaker loss, but the place is packed and it's loud. And I've seen some stuff on Twitter about how maybe TBA, they need to do, some of the old heads and the boosters and some of those on each sidelines, that they're not loud and it's not a good, I've
kind of seen that too, where it's just you see a lot of white hair that's sitting down. They're not standing.
Yeah,
they're not.
And people on Twitter are getting mad about it and saying like, hey, like, it doesn't make for as good of an atmosphere. For like example, when we lost to Florida, and I said it on here, like that Florida atmosphere was sick. Like they got the students all the way around, so that is cool. But like 2 things, and I saw someone tweet at Danny White and was like, hey, you need to put students on like the first couple rows all the way around. Now, if there was a way to do it and you have your big money people on court side and then your first 2 rows behind them are students, and then you can put kind of still, and it's still a good seating. I don't know how that would work with those students standing. But to be honest with you, Kyler, like I've been going to basketball games there for a long time. And when it's packed, it is a great atmosphere every time. I like that not to say that I wouldn't like the students on the sides. I think it'd be great, but like I think the Rocky Top Rowdies are great where they are, and I think it looks good when they're on those backsides. But I just had been hearing that like these people are complaining about Rocky Top or about TBA like not being as loud and people not standing and cheering. Bro, I think it was great, and I'll tell you this: I think it was good from the onslaught. I mean, the game was like, oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, it was maybe like literally 3 minutes in, and like the score's like 9-8, and there's a bad call, and I kid you not, the whole place came uncorked. And I was sitting there, and I was like just laughing, bro. I was like, dude, these people are in it, bro. Like, I mean, we're 3 minutes in the game, and it's like, so yeah, and so TBA's undefeated, Vol Nation's undefeated. I don't know why it surprises me, but it does, and it shouldn't have. But a great atmosphere to be in there after a tough loss. And I leave that game, Kyler, like I was sitting there and I got this feeling during that game of taking me back to about 2012, 2013, 2014 of my Memphis Grizzlies playing Golden State Warriors when Steph and Clay and the Splash Bros were really coming on, and how tough it was for us to play our grit and grind with Zebo and Mike and Tony Allen and Paul and Mark Gasol. And it's like, because you have to really grind it and earn it. And we work the clock, and then we get a nice 2. And then the Splash Bros go down and they chuck up a 3. And it's like, you can't keep chasing 3s and 2s. And I really felt like that's what Tennessee was struggling with in that game, because I felt like Tennessee had good defense. And even though Missouri shot the lights out, like, you can't do much if you're here and your hand's in a guy's face. Like, if he makes a shot, he makes a shot. And that's why I tweeted out, like, it's tough to beat a team when they're 50% from 3 and 50% from field goal. And I was happy that, like, you said it too, like, hey, I think they're playing good defense. They're just making shots. But I looked up one time at the scoreboard, and we're losing 30-44. And I'm like, holy shit, this is a 14-point game. And, like, it kind of happened like that. And I didn't feel like Tennessee was playing that bad. I didn't feel like they were playing that bad on defense. And sometimes we had some really good offensive possessions, but A, it's just a 2, or B, we missed a good open shot, which has kind of hampered us for a couple weeks now, where Olivier gets in or someone else gets in.
I mean, like the past 4 games, our average points per game is like 66. Like the previous 10 before that was 75. So it's like we were actually scoring in the 80s and 70s consistently. And then we hit Florida, and it was just like, what's going on with the offense? I mean, they still ended up scoring 85 versus Missouri, but it still very much felt like, we're still 40-something% from the floor. It's not what you need. It's not what's going to work. And going into Alabama, they're like number 6 in the country in points per game. So it's like something's got to give here.
Right. And for, like, I wasn't mad about the game. Like when I looked up and I said, all right, we're down 14. I was like, I think the boys make a comeback. I don't know exactly how much, but I was like, we're not going to get blown out. I think they'll make a comeback, and they did, which was great. But for me, it was like it's just one of those things that's frustrating. It's like you're playing good defense, offense is fine. You're getting some good shots. They're not falling. There were a couple possessions I wasn't happy with, but then Kyler, like, there were some possessions on offense, the ones that I wasn't happy with, or when we get to the rack, and I mentioned this once before, and we want to make the extra pass. It's like you've already beat
the dump around the guy that's guarding,
or the dump around, or the kick way back out. I mean, there was one time that Double Z and Tyreek Key get to the basket and beat their man and have like a little 8-foot bunny or a layup, and they kick it back out. Now, one time I yelled in TBA and I got mad about it, but I look like an idiot because we kicked it back out to Tyreek after he passed up. He drove in, he beat his man. I'm like, take you a little 8-footer there. He passes it, and I'm like, what are you doing? You've already done the hard part. Well, then he goes back out there. After he kicks it out, he goes back to the three. Someone kicks it back to him. He makes a three. So I'm like, all right, well, it is what it is. But you get my point.
Good job.
And that's where I got frustrated. But to kind of finish up the Missouri game is like, we lose on a buzzer beater, and I'm not even that mad. It's like, it's back-to-back buzzer beaters. You can't really believe it. And when Santi misses the front end, or excuse me, he misses the first one, and then we have a lane violation, and it's like we're just finding ways to choke it. I was like, dude, we're going to lose this game. And I kid you not, we had good seats. It was like, lower bowl, but slightly to the corner. So it was like I can see it happening because it's coming. Like where they hit the shot was kind of like goals here, I'm here. And so I see it. I'm like, dude, they're about to, because all night they were just drilling these threes, and he pulls up. I'm like, oh my God, this is about to go in. And he buries it. And like, I just like,
almost, it was still a heave though. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like a great 3-pointer. It was a heave.
No, yeah, it was. No, he pulled up. I mean, he literally pulled up like Steph Curry range, but he didn't like shoot it like he didn't shoot it normal. Like Steph can pull up from back there and just shoot a normal stroke. Like he did like the kind of running lean, like shoot it and then kind of stand, like see what happens. But like he buried it, and it was so funny because TBA immediately just went dead silent, and everyone didn't like. It wasn't even like people that mad or anything. They were just like, oh, of course, here we go, and they just started walking out. So it wasn't even like this, like booing or yelling. It was just like, W.
Well, I think the buzzer beater versus Vandy kind of set that up to where people were like, "You got to be fucking shitting me!" Like, there's no way this happened twice in a row like that. Like, it is so aggravating, obviously, because you're just like, okay, if they, one guy misses a shot, then it's a totally different game. On the same side, you're kind of like, what are we supposed, like, what are you going to do about that? Like, it's like, obviously there's things that you could have adjusted throughout the game, but it's like, I mean, it's a buzzer beater, dude. Like this doesn't happen to teams multiple times. The teams don't get their court rushed multiple times a year. Teams don't get beat on buzzer beaters multiple times in a year. It's like a very weird and strange occurrence, which makes it feel like I'm in this twilight zone of like, what happened to the basketball team? Like before me and you got into it and got like really excited about it, they were a good team.
Just think about if the Auburn guy would have got the call. That would have been 3 games that they lose basically at the end of the regulation if that guy gets that call and makes his shots or whatever happens. And so it's just weird though, because I wasn't even like I said, I wasn't that mad. It was just almost one of those things like you just laugh about, and like, of course I want to beat Vandy, and of course I want to beat Missouri and all that stuff. But really for me is like, I'm more like, not only because they're number one, but because like it's just Bama. So it's like, I don't like losing to Florida. I don't like losing to Kentucky. Vandy's just so irrelevant that it's like it is what it is. But like I'm juiced for tomorrow. Like I'll be in there in TBA, and like it's going to be rocking. I know it will be, even with the 2 heartbreakers. Like it's gonna be rocking. It's gonna be loud. But like I just want to win tomorrow just because it's Bama, kind of knock them off their high horse. But another reason that you can't be that upset about this year is because like every time you look up, someone's losing. Like I just turned on last night and Texas was number 6 and they lose to Texas Tech, but then like Kansas is losing multiple games. You got Purdue that loses. I mean, Bama got their butts absolutely whipped by a terrible Oklahoma team like 2 weeks ago. So it's like that's just the parity in college basketball this year. And for me, it really is like, yes, I want to win. Like I will definitely want to win tomorrow night way more than I cared about the Missouri game. But like it's almost like I've already said it once. I'll say it again. Like I'll just wait to watch us in the tournament and like see what happens. You know what I mean?
Because it doesn't matter if you are SEC regular season champs. Like it literally does not. Like how many times do they match up? Like there are so many times where they win the regular season and then lose in the SEC tournament. So it's like that. It's okay if you lose SEC games. And like you said, the parity, like I really want to see like what's the record for the amount of different number 1 teams throughout the year.
This year, but yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, like this year might be very close to it because I mean, I think North Carolina was there for a second, Gonzaga was there, Arizona was there. I mean, it's just been crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I just that's why it'll make. I mean, listen, man, the tournament's usually always great. I mean, it's usually always fantastic. This year should be no exception with all the parity. But the one thing that left me happy about the Missouri game is like I was very impressed. And it's just amazing, bro. It's like when shots just fall, like, you know, like you can always count on Tennessee playing good defense.
Yeah.
Like when shots fall, like you look like a completely different team. And the thing is like Tennessee in multiple games that in the games that I have watched, it's not like they're taking horrendous shots or like having all these boneheaded turnovers or just like miscommunication on defense. It's like, you know, they just, you know, they're just not hitting pretty open looks, you know, whether it's an open 3 or whether it's, I mean, in Kentucky, bro, how many layups? I think in the last 5 minutes of the Kentucky game, they missed like 4 layups. It's like that. Sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. And
yeah,
I think
and honestly, like when you talk about that, like missing those shots, like I feel bad for Vescovi. Like Vesco, like, you know, in his head, there is that small part of him like, shit, like I didn't make my free throws versus Vandy. Then I come off of my guy and he makes it. Then I have a chance at a 3 while we're already up 3, I think. At that point, I think it was like 83-80, and he misses it. And it's like, it's like, oh my gosh, dude. Like what is his mind right now where he's like, literally, if I just make my shots right there at the end, we're fine. We're going to win the game.
He stepped up to the line, though, late in the game in Missouri and hit I don't know if he hit 2 or at least 1, but he went up, stroked it. It was a nice, confident stroke. And then then the game's on the line again. And it's just like I said, he missed the first one. Technically, he did miss the second one, but like the second one didn't matter because, and as much as I love Tobey, and I'll give Rick credit, he played Tobey a lot of minutes, which he deserved. And dang it, man, you can win with that guy. He takes 1 or 2 bad possession or one or 2 bad shot selections a game. But this one in Missouri, he took a bad one, but he got his own rebound and put it back. So it was nice to see that. It was nice to see BJ Edwards in there. I was kind of surprised when I looked up and I saw him. I guess that was just Rick being so frustrated with everybody. He just said, damn it, get in there. And like,
yeah, hey, somebody go get me some points.
Yeah. And Double Z was, if I'm not mistaken, but he was in some foul trouble, which he ended up fouling out. But
yeah.
But BJ looked good while he was in there. I was happy with basically everything he did except one time freshman move or inexperienced move. He drives and then picks his dribble up and gets stuck, but it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a turnover or anything, but it was good to see him in there. And I don't want to sound like a sheet, but like I was actually really, really happy and just really proud how they fought back. They played great defense. They turned that great defense into offense. And that was the Tyreek Key that I tweeted it, but like that's the guy I thought that we were going to be having all year, like where he was going to have multiple 14, 18, jump up to 26 one week and then at least 12. And like, I just thought he was going to be very consistent for us and a consistent scorer. And, maybe that's why Rick's been saying, bro, just start pulling shots, man. Just like start.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it is like you just get more shots up and you will start to get into a rhythm. You'll start to make those shots. And sometimes guys don't even like trust themselves to make those shots. So it's like, hey, like I believe in you. Go out there and shoot. Especially early in a game, like when, 2 possessions get you a lead like really easily and it's not so stretched out towards like the end of the game, like get your rhythm going. I feel like there's a lot of guys that like, I mean, maybe hesitant, like you said, the extra pass, right? Or like guys that literally have like, hey, you made your guy miss in a way to where it gave you some room to shoot and you still don't shoot. And it's like, are you doubting yourself in like literally in that moment, doubting yourself? Like, I'm not going to be able to make this. I got to give it to somebody else to make. And like, if everyone's, if everyone is not confident in themselves, then no one's going to be confident. Like, it's just like a vicious cycle.
I don't think that. I would almost bet a lot of money that everyone on that team is very confident in themselves and confident in taking a shot throughout the game. Now, I'm not saying last minute or stepping up to the line like Santi's had to. I'm not saying a situation like that, but like it's almost like they're just trying to be too good of a teammate. Like they're being just too unselfish compared to really mattering about their confidence. But another thing is too, like Triple J didn't play that game. And there's times where it's like I felt like we have too big of a rotation. You got 10, which means you don't really have any compared to if you just had 5 or 6. Is like really let them get their minutes and get their points up. It's like, Tyreek knows that, if Triple J's not in, that's one less guy that might be coming in. Or I'm just using Tyreek as an example because he's the one that filled it up. But like going into tomorrow's game, if you don't have Triple J again, and then if Julian Phillips isn't in there, it's like, okay, Santi, like, okay, Tyreek, like, okay, Olivier, get your shots up here. Like, you know what I mean? And it was another thing, too, is like watching Missouri, and I think we're going to see this a lot in tournament time against us, especially if we're kind of missing bunnies and missing shots. But, like, Missouri ran a zone against us, and I thought it was smart. Julian had a bad turnover trying to get it into Olivier because, of course, man, just stick with fundamentals, like pump one way and bounce pass in. He doesn't bounce pass in. I thought when Olivier did get it inside, he turned around and like would even take a nice little confident shot where he would put it on the ground once and kick it back out. So it's like, if those teams run the zone because we're not hitting our outside shots and they're just, daring us to take, like get that first entry pass is the most important. Once you get that in, then you can kind of work everything else. But the key to tomorrow, shocker and no newsflash here, but TBA is going to be huge tomorrow. That place really has to get rocking. The defense is there. You and I know, like, you sitting here now, like they're going to play good defense. So it's like, I just think if they go out and just kind of play free and play, they're playing the number 1 team at home, like kind of just go let it fly. You know what I mean? And like,
I don't have anything to lose. Like everyone is expecting you to lose this game because of your previous, 4 out of the last, like 3 out of the last 4. Hell, 4 out of the last 4 because of that Auburn game. But no one is expecting you to lose, so to literally just go out there and give it all you got. I do think that the fact that we're at home, they're going to checker TBA. I think that's going to make a difference. We saw what an away crowd can do to Alabama when they played Oklahoma. So I and you said it earlier today when we were talking, we somehow just beat or get close to the teams we're not supposed to. No one's expecting. Those are the games we do the best. That's why we beat a Memphis and then lose to a Vandy the next day. That's why we beat a Texas and lose to a Florida the next day. I could easily see us winning Alabama and whoever's next losing.
You're right. I said it today. It's like someone we were talking with, and he's like the third person that we've talked with. It's like, oh, we're going to get trounced or Bama's going to whip us. I'm like, no, they're not. Like we've gotten 2 heartbreakers that we've lost. Like, yeah, we maybe haven't looked great on offense on some of those, but like this is the game where we don't have Triple J and we might not have someone else, and we're going to go in and we're going to end up beating them, or it's going to be like a really good game. I will be legitimately shocked if we walk out of there tomorrow, or if I walk out of there tomorrow and they've handled us. I really will be. Listen, I love Nate Oates. I think he's an awesome coach. I think it really stinks having to watch Brandon Miller as a Nashville guy go and just be probably one of the best players in the nation, but definitely the best probably freshman in the nation. It's like, how do we not get a kid that's 2.5 hours down the road? Now I get it. We got Julian Phillips, and I may have said this on the pod once already, but like I did once I heard about both of them, I went and looked, and like Julian Phillips was 15th overall in the nation, and Brandon Miller was 18th. You know what I mean? So it's like, I guess Barnes thought that he was getting the better player, but like when you look, and I've got their stats pulled up, and I knew he was averaging, 18, but he's almost at 19. He's 18.8, but then hell, he's 18, or he's 8 rebounds a game. I mean, very close to averaging a double-double, or very close to averaging 20 a game.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
as a
all over
freshman,
the place.
I mean, can you imagine how nice it would be? And like, I'm not taking a shot at all of them. And I know I've heard many people have said this. I was talking to a buddy the other week, and he was saying like, any of our 5-stars that come in, they're not legit 5-stars. Like, they're not one and done guys. I would come back and say that I think Kennedy Chandler was. I mean, he did go one and done, but like, I do think he was as good as advertised. Now, I don't feel that way with Triple J. I don't feel that way with Scotty Hopson. Don't feel that way really about Tobias. Tobias was one and done, and he was good, but I will always say Tobias was the weirdest good player ever, because he would like get a little putback and then get a layup, and then like, he'd maybe hit like 18-footer, but then he'd miss a couple shots, and then it's just like got some free throws, and you look up and he's got like 22, and it's like, what? Like, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
So it was never like this high.
It never felt like he controlled the game.
Yeah,
or
right.
It wasn't made it his.
Yeah, it wasn't like a couple pull-up threes and then like drive by and smash on, dunk on somebody. It wasn't just like this overwhelming, just taking over a game. So it stinks that a guy in our own state, is now doing that for a rival, and he's doing it well.
Yeah,
so it's
good.
But I'm excited. Selfishly, I'm excited to watch him play. But listen, I think tomorrow, I'm not even going to say the key is, I think they've been running pretty good offensive stuff. Now it's just all about just making the shots when they're there. And I would say play a little bit more selfish. Like, don't have to make the extra pass. Like, if you got a wide open shot, pull it.
Yeah, because I went back and tried to watch like the Alabama-Oklahoma game just to like see, okay, what did Oklahoma do to try and take advantage of them? And I felt like Oklahoma was able to drive to the basket very well. Like they were able to get to the basket and get in the lane, which like Zakai, Vescovi, let's do that. Let's get to the lane and shoot ourselves. Let's not do the extra pass. Let's shoot ourselves. Which they can definitely do, which, hey, guess what? Even if you don't make it, maybe they foul you, man. Like, maybe you go to the free throw line and you're our best 2 free throw shooters. So you can do something with that. And then on the other side, like, Alabama loves using big guy down low. They like their length a lot because they have a lot of it. So I feel like the inside, the middle, the underneath the basket kind of stuff on defense is going to be big for us. If we can prevent them, if we can make them have to make outside shots, then it's going to be a lot better defensively for it. Obviously, like, our defense is top in the nation, so it's not like a big worry. But that was just something that I thought I saw. Was like, okay, they like it inside. They like the big men inside. They like to get him the ball, and if he doesn't make it, he gets fouled. And he shoots. And I'm sure that they'll look back and see, oh, look at this big guy for Florida. Look what he did. Look at these big guys that have done work on Tennessee, and that's what they're going to try and do. So it's just like understanding that and knowing that and seeing that and being able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and you know me, I say it all the time. Like, if my team's down 1, down 2, and we got a guy that plays hero ball and dribbles back there and chucks up a deep 3 for the win, I lose my mind, because I'm always saying get to the basket because it's a high percentage shot. And if you don't make it, there's a really good chance you're going to get fouled and go to the line.
Yeah.
So I love the drive in. I love the drive in and kick out. But that's another thing about these games I've been watching is we do drive in. Now, Santi's just not very fast. Like it just athletically, he's not quite there. And he'll beat a guy because he's got that little he's got that little Luka or Manu in him where he's not super athletic, but he can make a move and make a step and make a ball fake and get somebody by somebody. But then he stops, like he doesn't go all the way into finish. So he's not necessarily a great finisher, which is one thing that I thought Kennedy Chandler was great at. Like he gets the rack at. But like for this team, I really do feel like if Triple J or Julian are not going to the rack, then the only person that we have is Double Z. And like as good as he is at it, he's not great, and he is smaller. Like he's not. We even with him and Kennedy's size, like Kennedy was a much better finisher. But it's like I agree with you, and that's one thing that frustrates me when I watch the past two games, and that's one thing I do want to see tomorrow. Like if you get in there, you don't have to pass it out every single time. So,
exactly. Just finish yourself.
I've got our stats pulled up, and it's tough to see this. Like I said, you think you got 8, 9 good options, but it's like sometimes you don't have. I mean, Santi's our leading scorer with 12 a game, and then Double Z's at 10, Olivier's at 10.
I mean, dude, that's just bad. 12 a game.
12 and then 10, and then so our third leading scorer is at 10, and then that drops off to Triple J, like supposed to be a leader who's I know he's had some injuries and stuff, but 9.5 a game, like that's just not great. Hell, I hate seeing Tyreek Key at 8 a game. That's I just don't love that. And then it feels like middle school numbers.
You know what I mean? Like kids in high school average way more. Like I don't know. Like I just like it sounds like middle school ball. You got a bunch of guys averaging 10 points.
Well, and then the 3-point, I mean, Santi's 35%, but then Double Z's 31. Now, I will say Z's might be 31 from 3. He usually seems to always hit a pretty clutch one a game.
Yeah.
Olivier's 39% from 3. Now, granted, he's probably not taking as many. But then Triple J 30%. It's just Tyreek's 36. It's just, it's just like they're good. But I don't think they're great. And then, for when it comes tournament time, they're really going to have to play like their best ball. You meaning like in years past with some of our teams, we could get away with playing B ball, our B plus, B minus and still winning. This team's got to play A level ball the whole time to win.
Exactly. There was one thing that I wanted to read on here. So it was a tweet from Tennessee basketball after that Missouri loss. And they just said, we know it's been a weird couple of weeks. Sports do really be like that sometimes. Last night's second half effort, that was Tennessee basketball. And the second half TBA atmosphere, that was what Vol Nation is all about. So stick with us, keep showing up, and we'll meet you there. Listen, I understand that like certain people run the social media accounts, and it's not like the head coach is doing that, but I definitely feel as if this was kind of like an admittance of, hey, we're playing shitty. Like, hey, we're not up to the standard of what you guys expect and what you guys have brought to us with filling TBA, even after a Vandy loss, with filling TBA versus Alabama. But we will get there. We will catch you. You know what I mean? Like, fans, you're the one leading the charge, but we will catch you. And I liked it. I started to read it, and I was like, oh, my God, here we go. Like, coming up with kind of like an excuse as to like, hey, it's like weird, like it's not on us. It's a crazy fluke thing. But then they finished it with like, listen, you guys keep doing what you're doing. We're going to get to you. We're going to get to where you're at. And I thought that was nice. I thought it was good. I thought it was kind of because that's not like a typical tweet you see from a team account.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I do think there was some kind of input of like one coach, maybe Barnes, maybe players were like, hey, I just want to get the message across.
Let's let them know we appreciate them. Let them know we we're sorry that we haven't held up our end of the bargain. Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's
exactly.
the same thing
and
as a player.
that fires me up for this game because I think these guys are like, we have to show out. Like we have to bring it back to the standard of what we expect. Like we won the SEC last year. Like what? Like why are we we can't hold ourselves lower than that. That is the standard now. So
Butch Jonesness coming out from me again. I think that's like 2 weeks in a row. But you want to say one volunteer nation, like one Vol community, but it's like we're in it with them, and it's like they're not holding up their end of the bargain. Just like if you and I are playing golf and you're playing great and I'm not, and we're losing, it's like, hey, I got you. Like I'm sorry, I'm gonna pick it up this back nine. So yeah, it's sometimes it's like, okay, I appreciate you saying that. Other times I'm like, I don't give a shit, asshole. Just start playing better.
Just do your damn job.
Yeah. You can't keep saying my fault 9 times.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, my bad, bro. My bad. Yeah, it is your
we know.
bad.
We know. We know.
You don't have to tell us. We know.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Go
right,
Vols,
man.
baby. Let's go.
Go Vols. Let's freaking beat Bama's ass.
I'm fired up.
Let's do it. Hey, let's do it again. Did it in football. Let's do it in basketball.
Let's go.
All right. Great pod, bud.
You too.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. We love the comments. If you're just listening, rate and review, download, re-download, give us 5 stars. That means a lot to us. If you want to follow us on social media, at Believe in Tennessee for our main account, at rbacon26 for Reed, at Kyler Kerberson for myself on all social medias. We have merch right now. So how we doing, bud? T-shirts in orange and in white. So go ahead and grab those up. And just really appreciate you guys. Thank you for all your support. You're the reason why this thing keeps going. So thank you so much. And as always, go Vols.